and foo is going to have a response writer and a pointer to request. And then we are going to, if we're posting, so we could format print line, just kind of print out, and we could say method, and that's going to be the request.method. And let's look and see what that does. Request method is a string, so that will tell us the method. And then we could say if request method is equal to hp.method post, which is post, it's just a constant. We're going to run this code. And then down here, we're going to have response writer dot write header. Let's see, I'm just going to look back at this code. No, it's header set, sorry. Header set and key string and key value. And so key string will be content type, and it'll be text HTML car set UTF-8. And then we'll have that form in HTML there. We can just copy this over. So IO rate string, and then we could also have break and an image. Source is equal to. Now we have to kind of figure out how to show that image. And so I kind of want to do directory templates. Index.go HTML. I make that a Go file. New file, index.go HTML, and on this one, here we have car set UTF-8. So I don't think we need to set the content type, because that's got set in the meta. It's kind of interesting to me. Meta car set UTF-8 meaning. What does meta car set equal UTF-8? The meta tag basically specifies which character set a website is written with. I was just looking to see if it sets the content type text HTML. We're going to leave this commented out for a second. And so instead of writing all that, we'll do this to execute the template, and it'll be index.go.html, and nil for the data right now. And then we will have assets. And then we want to serve those assets. HTTP handler. HTTP handle func. HTTP handle. Pattern. It's going to be resources. And then HTTP strip prefix. Prefix string will be resources. And HTTP.fileserver. And it's going to be HTTP.dir. And that will be assets. So that, I think, is pretty good. And then here in this, we want to have our image, so we'll put our form stuff there. So we have that form where we could upload a file, and then we'll also just put an image here. And source is going to be resources /toby.jpg. And we could do the data, that if there is data, we'll do that. And so the data we'll pass in will be like maybe the name of the file. So method post, grab that file. And I don't think that, so H isn't being used, that's the header. I wonder if there's H dot form file header. We have the file name from file header. It's a struct. So if that is file header, that's a struct, then we should have h.filename. So we could do file name : equals empty string, and then here file name is equal to h.filename, and we could pass in file name here. And we read that file and turns it into a byte slice. How did we write a file? So we have a slice of bytes. Also interesting just to kind of think file name, content, slice of bytes. That's it. How do we write a file? Yeah, so we need to create a file. So we got our byte slice. Now we're going to create a file. So os.create. Name string gives us back a file and an error. So name string will be Toby. Oh, we could do file name here. We'll just create a file by that name because we're creating it on our server, right? And then what's the other thing? And what's it give us? Create. Create takes in a name string and returns a file, pointer to a file, and an error. So create some name. I want a little bit more information on that. Create creates the name file with mode 666. Truncating it if it already exists. If successful, methods on the return file can be used for I/O. So create gives us pointer to a file and an error. I'm just wondering how I choose what directory to create it in, or if it just gets created in the root directory, because I want to put it into my assets folder right there. Yeah, maybe, right? So it could be would it be like that, and then, right? So it's going to go into the assets folder plus file name. Or did I just do it like this? Do we include that dot or not? And so that returns destination file and an error. And we'll check that error. And then we're going to want to copy the file that was uploaded to the file we've created. So io.copy is going to be the destination and the source. So the destination is destination file and the source is F. And we need to defer.close, defer df close. Right, and then copy them. And does copy have anything it returns? Bytes written and an error. So we could do, I don't care about how many bytes are written. And I think we do it like that when there's no new variable created. And we got this byte slice. So what does copy want? Because we have this file that we uploaded, and then a byte slice. What does copy want in there? Copy wants a writer and a reader. So file has the writer, and this one has the reader. So I don't think we need to do the byte slice method. So that should write it. And then we want to pass in the file name here to our template. When the file name goes into our template, we could do file name and we could also put that right here. And so then when it looks in resources, so it should write that file to here. That's what we're going for. And then it's going to look into going to look into resources, and so then it will strip off this part. And we're left with / in the name of the file, toby.jpg. And we're going to serve from assets, right? For assets, and it'll be assets / the file name. So we should be able to upload a file. I'm not sure if this is like empty, right? If it'll run on empty. We can look at that in the documentation. Go doc, text, template, and look for if. So if the value of the pipeline is empty, no output is generated. Empty values are false, 0, any null or interface, any array, slice, map, or string of length 0. Right? So that's empty, so nothing will happen. So we pass in an empty string, this won't execute. Otherwise, right, if the method's post, we're going to get that file that was uploaded. We'll get the file name. It's assigned to fn. And we're not going to set the content type. We'll check that out. We're going to execute this template, pass in the file name, and then that template's right here. And it'll show us the image if we've uploaded an image and put in that folder. We'll probably have some debugging. Yeah, and here, so we're creating that file to write our new file to. How many people are curious if this is going to do anything? Sorry that was kind of a belabored deal. Sometimes I get myself into little places where I'm like, I feel compelled to figure it out. So far, so good. Let's look at our stuff down here. And document, script, PNG, buffer, hover. So here's TBC check. It's interesting. And then localhost, we click on that. Whoops. Right, we have a request URL, request method, content length, content type is text HTML charset UTF-8. That's the response header. So we're sending back to the browser, hey, this is text HTML. What would happen if we didn't have here what would happen if we didn't have that? Still text HTML. Maybe because we said doc type HTML. What would happen if we had that? I thought I didn't have to reload my server for the HTML, only the CSS. Let me reload my server. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So content type is text plain. Content type will be text HTML. And what happens if I take this line out? Content type is text HTML still. Like I have doc HTML up there. All right. So method was get, because we request that page. I'm going to choose a file. And it's going to be up here in temp. And we'll just choose it from this previous one where we had Toby. And it should end up in 78, which is the one we're on. Submit. Open assets Toby JPEG, no such file or directory. So we're looking for /assets Toby JPEG. And /assets Toby JPEG. Maybe we need to try create. Try that. No. Nothing's there. Whoa. And let's see what happened. Wrote the file. So yeah, that's awesome, Jeff. We were able to say create this at that place. And then we wrote that file there and we passed the name in. And then our template, right, was able to say, hey, if the name came in, let's print out the file name and then serve that. This is the stuff like where I just don't have that background. Ink type, like I think you just need that anytime you upload a file, regardless of the type. And then when we got in here, like the previous one, it was text, so we did the entire, okay, give me the bytes and turn it into a string, so I want the text. But for the image, we're like, okay, let's just take the file that was uploaded and create another image and write it. So then we would specify, you know, what kind of file is being uploaded. An image. We only allow an image to be uploaded. Okay, now we're gonna just create an image and write it to that, create a file and write it to that new file and store it. So that's what we just did there. So all of that was a little bit wonky. If somebody wants to like learn about like ink type and then content type and come back and tell me about it next week, that'd be awesome. Because the header type, right? I mean, I guess it's not that much to know. There's just different header types, and you could set the header type if you want. Like right here, reading, right? We just set the content type because we didn't have all the other HTML context, I guess. But in our example, we had the HTML context because we used a thing. Here is storing a file. So this is going to be pretty similar. This one's text. And then we got all of our bytes. We read that file. And then we created a file. Oh, file path join. So that's nice. So we did ./user and then the file name. Instead of concatenation, we did file path join. I'm not sure how that's different. Join joins any number of path elements into a single path, adding a separator if necessary. Join calls clean on the result. In particular, all empty strings are ignored, right? So join probably has some safety checking for different slashes or whatever. So we created a file that we wrote that byte slice to the destination. So we wrote the byte slice there. Different way to do it. And so the file gets created in ./user, that one right there. That's a text file. So same idea. And then we have a little directory here with ink type. So we have ink type. Different ink types. URL encoded. So I've explored these before. Multi-part form data, which is the one we were just using, and text plain. It's a little bit about uploading files, but I think that's pretty useful. And then, you know, if you get the file uploaded and you have some sort of storage system, you're storing it, you know, in Google Cloud or something. You could store that file in different areas, different buckets for a user. All right.